What's up, streaming people? Welcome into a fresh hour of HQ. I'm Haley Sutton. Let's get you those updated headlines. We begin in the NFL, where some are getting paid, others are still playing the waiting game, specifically out in Dallas. Minicamp is here, but still no sight of CeeDee Lamb this offseason, as he is still waiting for a new deal, which is likely why he wasn't in the building at the start of mandatory minicamp. But now it seems we at least have a ballpark number to expect. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson just inked a massive deal to make him the highest paid non-quarterback at $140 million over the course of 4 years. And with CeeDee and Jay Jettas recording similar numbers over the years, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Lamb's contract look similarly. However, his absence at the start this offseason has been noticed, and head coach Mike McCarthy addressed the absences earlier today.
CeeDee and all those types of situations, he's in a business situation. You know, everybody's engaged, and I have no qualms or don't lack no confidence as far as our vets being ready. He's been engaged. I can just tell you that he's been engaged.
And then
that's my word for the day. I said it 6 times. So engaged.
If that's not a Mike McCarthy soundbite, I don't know what it is, as we bring in our NFL staff writer, Garrett Podell, to discuss everything going on within the Star. Garrett, Jerry Jones said earlier that he's been waiting on more leaves to fall. They are certainly falling. So when it comes to CeeDee Lamb, what can you tell us about the conversations around getting this deal done now that we've seen Justin Jefferson become pretty highly paid this season?
Well, we would anticipate that it would get done in the near future, at least by training camp, you would imagine, because if you remember back a year ago, Trayvon Diggs' contract was a topic of discussion, but they ended up getting that done right before camp. And to your point about the leaves falling, Jerry wanted to see a little bit more action in the market 2 days before the NFL draft when he made those remarks. And now he has it. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, same draft class. CeeDee has about 3 more catches than Jefferson in his career, 2 more receiving touchdowns. So I would imagine that Jerry's seen enough and that he can go to the table and understand what he's getting into from a negotiating standpoint. I spoke to Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb's close friend here on the team, and he said if he was CeeDee's agent, he would ask for $36 million, as you can see on that chart there that's being shown. He would ask for CeeDee to make $36 million a year and top that and reset the market again. Now, he said, I don't know what the discussions are like in terms of the counters when it's agents versus Jerry and Stephen Jones in the front office. But he said he thinks CeeDee Lamb is the best wide receiver in football. Jerry has said, I see CeeDee Lamb as one of the best players in the NFL. So you would imagine that CeeDee's going to get compensated in that 33, 35, maybe 36 if Jerry's willing to reset the market here with CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, he's going to need every bit of it, because right now he's looking at about a $17,000 fine for missing the workout today. That number could climb to $50,000 if he continues to miss out this week. So he is certainly due for a payday. We know he is scheduled to make a little over $17 million on that 5th-year option if they cannot come to a deal in the future. Now, you mentioned Micah Parsons, so if we shift the conversation over to the defense, of course, the Cowboys have picked up his 5th-year option, playing on the defensive edge side of things. But when it comes to Micah, it kind of feels like he is team first. At least that's kind of been how we sort of read into it when it comes to getting those contracts done with his teammates. But he is still due for a big payday as well. It was nice to see him back on the field after he's been traveling the world with his social media there with CJ Stroud. But how have things progressed with Micah? And from his perspective, since you spoke to him, how important is it to Micah to get a deal done?
Well, yeah, he discussed a wide-ranging amount of topics. He talked about learning from the sumo wrestling he did, some different squat and weightlifting and stretching techniques he can learn there. And he spoke about how there was a lot made in terms of mini camp and him not being there. But he said he really gets most of his work, honestly, in training camp, given his experience in the league, and then actually being able to play in full contact when he's out in practice. And in terms of his deal, he understands his pecking order in the situation. He's completed his 3rd season, which makes him extension eligible. But he understands that Dak needs to get done, CeeDee needs to get done, and he's certainly got an eye toward the Dallas Cowboys cap room in the next couple of seasons, as after they left 8 guys leave their roster in free agency this offseason, which was tied for the 3rd most for the Cowboys in terms of players lost in a single offseason. But he's content with where he's at for now. He's willing to wait. He knows he's going to be able to command a top-of-the-market deal in terms of his contract. But him staying away from voluntary OTAs, he said that's not a contractual thing. It's his, quote, style to do what he needs to do prior to mandatory minicamp in terms of who he works out with, the type of training he does. He feels like he's got a pretty strong specialized plan for how he's going to get himself ready for the season. And he did tell us he's spoken with head coach Mike McCarthy about leadership and the best ways to go about it. And they're on the same page in terms of how he can contribute as a leader. And he said, even though some have questioned, well, why aren't you spending time with your young teammates? He said, well, look, have you watched the movie Remember the Titans? Have you seen what a football training camp looks like? He said, we've got a long time in training camp for him to do all of those things. And a team PR spokesman told me today that the Cowboys will be out in Oxnard. They'll leave the 22nd, gets all set up on the 23rd. They'll be there through August 22nd. So for about a month, Micah feels like he can get done what he needs to get done, both from a technique and learning the scheme and bonding with teammates.
Listen, I have worked in that building before. I know how Micah Parsons is. When he says he's going to get something done, he will do it on his time. Garrett Podell joining us live from the Star to break down all of the headlines coming from the Dallas Cowboys. We know there are always so many. Jerry Jones with the biggest headline of the offseason, saying at the beginning he was going to, quote, go all in. That's still up to interpretation. However, the numbers speak differently. If you take a look at the most wins in a 3-year span without a conference championship appearance, that of course would be the Dallas Cowboys at the top of that list. Dating back to the 21 season, they have earned 36 wins without anything to really show for it. Remember, the Cowboys won the division last year before being embarrassed by the Packers in the opening round. Maybe this year things change, maybe they don't. Still a lot to think about when it comes to contracts and the football.